Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm Mayowa Adeyemi, here with Simon Carver. And Simon, I want to start today with a specific number that represents a massive shift, 7 to over 250. That is, the staffing growth of Active Foods, founded by Yetunde Adeyemi, which started as a modest neighborhood bakery and scaled into a major industrial enterprise employing hundreds of young Nigerians.
7 to 250? That is not just adding a few extra hands, Mayowa. That is going from a tiny family feel to managing a small village. How on earth does a local bakery survive that kind of explosive growth without collapsing under its own weight?
It survives by making a brutal mental shift, Simon. Many African entrepreneurs start in what I call survival hustle mode. You are the baker, the driver, the accountant, and the security guard. But to scale, you have to transition to a structured enterprise. Yetunde didn't just bake more bread. She built operational systems, documented recipes, defined clear roles, and put supply chain structures in place. If your business depends entirely on your physical presence to function, you don't own a business. You just own a very demanding job.
Right, it's the classic trap, isn't it? You love baking, so you start a bakery, but suddenly you aren't baking anymore, you're managing logistics and payroll. But tell me, where do most founders actually hit the wall? What is the exact point where the hustle stops working and the lack of structure catches up to them?
It almost always happens when cash flow complexity outpaces their informal trekking. In the early days, you look at your bank balance at the end of the day, and if there is cash, you think you're profitable. But as you scale, you start dealing with credit terms for bulk flour, delayed payments from supermarkets, and upfront maintenance costs for industrial ovens. Suddenly, you have millions in paper revenue, but zero cash in the bank to pay wages on the 30th. Without structured cash flow forecasting, that is the exact moment the engine seizes up.
So it is basically a visibility problem. You're flying a larger plane, but you're still trying to look out the window instead of checking the instrument panel.
Exactly. You need those instruments. Financial discipline means separating personal pockets from business coffers and treating cash flow management as a daily strategic survival tool, not an afterthought.
Okay, so let's talk about building beyond the founder's personality. When we look at iconic Nigerian trailblazers, someone like Ibukun Awosika instantly comes to mind. She built a massive furniture manufacturing empire. But Nigeria has real physical bottlenecks: power outages, erratic logistics, volatile exchange rates. How do leaders like her build legacy brands despite those massive infrastructure headaches?
Ibukun Awosika is a masterclass in governance. What she understood early on is that you cannot let external infrastructure deficits excuse internal governance deficits. Yes, the power grid might fail, so you budget for redundant generators. But what must never fail is your corporate governance. She built an independent board of directors, established clear internal controls, and ensured absolute transparency. When external factors are chaotic, your internal structures must be rock solid to give partners and investors the confidence to back you.
So, governance isn't just a corporate buzzword for multinational giants. It is actually a shield against local operational chaos. But Mayowa, let's get practical here. For a business trying to cross that chasm, what does this mean for things like tax compliance and auditing? Because I know a lot of small business owners view taxes as something to, let's say, optimize or avoid rather than embrace.
Optimize. Yes, a very polite word, Simon. But let me be frank, tax evasion is a growth ceiling. If you keep two sets of books to minimize tax exposure, you are locking yourself out of the formal financial system. When you want to approach a bank for a major expansion loan, or when a venture capitalist wants to invest, the very first thing they ask for is 3 years of audited financial statements and the clean tax clearance certificate. If you cannot produce those, your scaling journey ends right there. True financial mastery means viewing compliance not as an administrative tax, but as a strategic growth asset.
That makes total sense. You're paying for the credibility that allows you to access bigger capital. So, if I'm an entrepreneur listening to this right now, running a business out of Lagos or Accra, feeling overwhelmed by the daily grind, but desperate to build a legacy, what is the very first step I should take tomorrow morning to start building a structured business?
Start with one simple, non-negotiable step. Open a dedicated business bank account tomorrow and stop mixing your personal cash with business funds. Even if you are a sole proprietor, pay yourself a fixed monthly salary, no matter how small. Once you draw that line, start documenting your daily transactions. That simple act of separation is the foundation of all financial structure. Remember, financial freedom is not built by chance. It is built through knowledge, discipline, strategic action, and consistent execution.
Drawing that line. Simple to say, but it takes real discipline to execute. Maiwa, thank you for breaking this down so clearly.
My pleasure, Simon. To all the entrepreneurs out there, keep building, keep complying, and keep prospering. We will see you next time.